Welcome to the Phoenix Podcast, where we discuss mental health in the Black community. Tune in for weekly episodes with your hosts, John and Chris. All right, so FYI, we're recording, so let's keep it politically correct, shall we? We don't want to get blocked.
Man, we need more leaders like that.
Yeah,
honestly.
right?
Yeah.
He's the best.
No, but this is not going to be in the thingy, right?
No, of course not. Like I did with Nick.
Yeah.
See, I kept a lot of stuff at the top, right? It was too funny. I'm like, what do I cut? I wanted to cut, right? I'm like, no. I'm like, that's gold. I'm like, let's go. Let's keep that.
Yeah.
But now I realize that's what people love.
They love that, of course.
Yeah.
It is natural reaction. Yeah.
It's that little banter we had in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was like, what?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They don't like the good evening, girls.
Yeah, no.
Welcome to Phoenix Podcast.
Welcome to Masterpiece Theater.
Yes.
Remember that?
Masterpiece Theater. Yeah.
You know, then you got to wear ascot.
Exactly,
ascot, the pipe, sipping some brandy.
Exactly.
Lord whistled down.
Yeah. But you got it.
Right? So, anyway, interesting story, folks.
Yeah.
And we haven't even started the podcast yet, but here it is, because Sagwa here, he was under the impression that he was going to come here and sit and listen. And guess what happened?
And take pictures.
Exactly.
Ass, grass, or gas.
Hey,
Everybody does pay.
My God.
Hey, to my defense, Chris hijacked the brother. He was like, say something. Get on the mic.
Yes. No, you're right.
Yes,
So, no,
for
you're the
lunch,
guest.
for lunch.
Yeah, you're the guest.
Okay.
You know, not to diminish the brothers. I mean, of course we ambushed him.
Yeah,
Sindio.
we did.
Yeah.
No, but in our defense, you brought yourself here.
Right.
And you ate the lunch.
And you ate the lunch.
You ate the lunch.
Therefore,
Yeah.
Thou
right.
shalt speak.
Arrogant.
All right, folks. Well, this is a Phoenix podcast. Episode insert right here.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome to the show, Sagwa. Brother Sagwa.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
What's going on?
Great to be out here.
Mm-hmm.
Great to be among creative minds.
Hey,
Even John.
welcome. Yeah.
I'm here all week. And Sundays.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Phoenix. Yeah, this is the Phoenix podcast and Phoenix.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
And basically today we're going to talk about education versus knowledge, or knowledge versus education, because we realize that the two may not necessarily be one and the same.
Absolutely.
And why I'm talking about this is because there's been a lot of brouhaha this past week about a certain gentleman who scored, was it a D minus or something?
Oh, the pilot? The guy?
The so-called pilot.
Right.
Like a D minus or something, and he faked a certificate. He said he got a B plus or something.
Oh.
And this guy has been flying commercially for the past 8 years.
Oh, no.
8 years.
Oh, yes, is
Yeah.
what I would say.
Imagine
Good
that.
for him. No, seriously, if the planes never crashed,
Yeah.
I mean, but go ahead.
No. I can see where you headed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why is it good for him? Okay, like I said, if the planes never crash. However, if the plane did crash, you're talking about insurance investigation. You're talking about education forgery. A lot of people seem to be of the opinion, but no, this is, he did a good job. Okay, fine. He didn't have the qualifications.
Right.
Dude has been flying for 8 years. It can't be that hard. But then, so what we're saying is the fact that you may not necessarily have the education, but you have the knowledge, you're good to go.
Right. I mean, in essence, you're saying you're okay with it? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying I'm okay with it. But what I'm saying is there's a large constituency of people who are saying, because look at it this way. Okay, fine. This guy's a pilot. He got away with it, right?
Right.
What about a surgeon
True.
or a doctor
True.
who hasn't had training? But for the past 8 years, they have successfully gotten away with telling you, oh, John, you have this, take this, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where does the risk factor start and end? And where does what a talented person?
Right.
You
I mean, I think from the way that I see it, right? I see it as like in a society, right? There are certain protocols that are put into place to whether it's like because of litigation, because of like insurance purposes, or even just like life or death situations. How do you gauge whether a surgeon, whether he's accredited to perform a certain type of surgery, like open heart surgery, for instance? yes, he may be able to have amassed the amount of hours that qualifies him to be such, right? But there's a body that basically regulates. The board of surgeons, for instance, right?
Yeah.
So I think these are there. These sort of bodies, the regulating bodies, are there to ensure that when you go under, right, you're sedated. You can't defend yourself. So you have to be able to say, this person is actually qualified to crack my chest open, use the forceps, open up my, now all of a sudden my heart is literally in his hands.
Charge me
So
a
this,
fortune.
right? This is but I can see, for instance, like let's say you see somebody who's a lorry driver, right? It's less mission critical as opposed to a commercial pilot or a surgeon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can forgive to a certain extent because then again you have certain things that you have to take into consideration as well.
Like ethics.
As a lorry driver, right? If let's say he amassed a vast amount of knowledge to able to function like long distance, like long haul driving, right? There are certain situations where without the proper training, he won't be able to address. He may be able to address it, but then he's backed by, let's say he has the proper license class. You have classes, right?
Yes.
To operate this machinery.
Of course.
For instance, like when I learned how to drive, right? I learned stick, which is manual but
Which is what very many of us actually start with. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But then there's on the flip side of that, a lot of people who learn on manual.
Automatic.
Automatic. So
yeah.
put him in a situation where, for instance, you've all experienced this black ice, right?
Yes.
How do you react if you happen to hit a black ice patch without the proper knowledge? What are you gonna do? You're gonna panic. You're gonna hit the brakes. That's the worst thing. Worst thing you could do on a patch of black ice. But I learned how to navigate black ice. Release the gas. Don't even go near the brakes, right?
Yeah.
And don't even go crazy.
trust,
If your tail's going this way,
Then because exactly.
go.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Counter that, and then
Yeah.
your tail's gonna switch to the other
Yes,
side, and
exactly.
you counter, and then slowly your arc. It's kind of like let's geek out a little bit. It's kind of like it's kind of like a sine wave, right? You have the amplitude, right? And as fast as it goes, the higher now your pitch gets. So it's the same thing. The faster you go, the more you're gonna sway this way. So you got to reduce the amplitude of your sway. So therefore, if the tail end of your car goes to the right, don't throw your wheel to the left, throw it to the same side. And then what's going to happen, you're going to basically, the amplitude is going to basically widen.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to go less and then slower till you regain composure.
Yeah.
And then now you start, all right, am I past that patch? You start like pumping the brakes. Kidogo,
It's
right?
It's like the science and the logic of what they call the pit maneuver.
Right.
The cops.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
Hit
So
you-
the bumper,
just
right?
the bumper.
Right. see, this is acquired knowledge
Yeah.
that we can draw from
Yeah.
to get ourselves out of a sticky situation.
Exactly.
I'm not saying the pilot hadn't really done these things. He might have done these things, but then if something tragic happens, who backs him up? What regulating body that's going to say, you know what, well, he got the knowledge, so we're going to let him fly. You know what I'm
But
saying?
that's what actually counts, though, because at the end of the day, how do you get to know how to do something?
Right.
By practice.
That's right.
And so we have to really question, how do people get to have knowledge? Knowledge isn't just classroom related and speaking out like
True.
education.
Yep.
Say if you didn't go through certain training, then you don't know. Because
Yeah.
there's different ways of actually knowing.
Yeah.
There's perception. There's people who actually can learn by just observing and seeing how things go. There's some people who actually have innate knowledge, just a little bit of this or that, and they're ready to go.
That's right.
So
yeah.
my question is really, now that he's been discovered,
Yeah.
what are they going to do? Because that's the big statement on what you should really think about knowledge.
Right.
And knowing. Like, because off the back of that, then you find that what we're really into is credentialism. Like, I have these credentials.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have this qualification.
Yeah, that
And
piece
so
of paper.
That piece of paper that is supposed to say you went through certain things.
Yeah.
And Chris can attest to this in Kenya. Pieces
Why
of paper
why me?
as a Kenyan.
Why me?
As a Kenyan. maybe John is like, yeah, John might get CVs and resumes and be like, yo, these guys are good. So credentials can be found off the street, printed off anywhere.
Yeah, River Road.
And like, so we have to actually challenge what we mean by saying someone actually knows how to do something, you know?
But here's the thing, John
Gotcha.
and Sagwa. This guy had an amazing amount of self-confidence. I mean, his mental state was just like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. How do you actually psych yourself into forging your certificates?
That's easy. Forging is easy.
Going to flight school
Okay.
with a forged certificate, okay? Actually sitting in classes, which means that he has got an amazing, he must have had an amazing brain. But his mental state is just like, this guy's got to have, he's got to be one of the most optimistic people on the face of this earth.
Yeah.
Most competent too.
Yeah.
I would say competent. Because just going back to something you said is like, he forged the certificate to get in to school.
Yeah.
What does that say? There's integrity with this guy. He's like, in some certain way, he's like, I need this to go for the training that I need, you know?
Yeah.
It's not, he didn't forge to go and get a loan at the bank or something, you know, like, hey, look.
So it's justified forgery.
It's justified for He's like,
That was a means to an end.
The means to an end.
Yeah.
And just what comes to mind, actually, is actually how flawed our selection process is for people to go to university or training. Because most likely, the guy could actually be a bright guy, maybe for some reason or other failed his final exams, and did this because he knew whatever reason. Sometimes people panic, sometimes people are sick.
I hate
all
exams
these different
on
kind
a
of
personal
things.
level.
Some hate exams.
I just hate them.
But I remember a scenario where people would be told, okay, this is the cutoff mark. If you want to study X, Y, or whatever, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
So anecdote, I remember a situation walking into a building and a friend of mine was talking to the security guard for a long time, like really, really, and we had a meeting. I'm like, what's up? Why are you taking so much time talking to him? And he's like, that guy
That's the first line of
was
defense.
was the brightest, was the top student in chemistry in high school.
Wow.
In my year.
Wow.
He was like, everybody would go to him to get tuition tutorials about chemistry.
Yeah.
But what happened? He missed one point, and that was it. He couldn't go study in university what he wanted to do. So here he is sitting like a security guard because the system failed him. So if that guy goes and forges a certificate to go into school to study chemistry or chemical engineering, I won't feel a thing about that, you know?
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
as long as he follows the path. and
That's
he
what I was saying,
include the credentials,
integrity
right,
with
exactly.
the forgery. Yeah.
And that brings us back to, remember Catch Me If You Can?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course.
Leonardo
That famous
DiCaprio.
case?
Yeah.
Yeah,
DiCaprio
exactly.
actually played the
But
character.
the real guy.
The real
you know
guy,
what I mean?
yeah.
So that it's the same thing. And then now let's fast forward to a couple of years ago. There's a 19-year-old who was arrested. I think it was 2019 or 2018. He was 19 years old. He posed as a doctor. He actually rented an establishment, a space where he opened a clinic. He operated as a doctor for a couple of years, and he was actually arrested. And I think he was out of. His name's Malachi Love Robinson. And,
Is he melanated?
yes.
He basically was a GP, basically, as a physician, not like surgery. or
No, he
anything
wasn't a
deep.
surgeon, but here's a kid. I'm
man,
going
look
to
at
insert
that
the picture
It's
later.
like Doogie Howser gone bad.
Yeah, here's the kid, okay, and they basically they were to the standpoint where why doesn't he apply himself because he already has a breadth of knowledge,
Of course, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to where he was able to actually successfully treat patients, as a 19-year-old. So for him, if he would have applied himself and go to medical school, imagine how far. But then again, probably the establishment is not set up for that, where you have such a mind that you realize this is my calling, this is where I need to be. But then, of course, he acquired all his knowledge over the internet. That's how
really? So
you
you
got
was
YouTube,
studying.
You got YouTube
Yeah.
University.
Basically, he
Yeah.
was studying.
exactly.
Yeah.
But then again, remember the establishment is set up so if you don't go through You know what I mean? The hamster, the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Well, you're not qualified.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I don't know if you guys remember Dr. Sebi.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
big
Michael's.
time.
Is it? No.
No, the one he passed away.
Yeah, he
years
passed
back,
away
but,
a couple of years back.
Radical treatment of AIDS, different things.
Okay.
And all.
Just
Exactly.
like Dr. What's his face? The guy who used to operate from here who allegedly cured Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Dr.
Oh, Bell.
Yes, what was his name?
Stone, is it?
Stone.
I
Okay.
think it was Stone. Yeah. The
Yeah.
oxygen
Oh, yeah.
treatment. Yeah. You know.
So what about Dr. Sebi though?
Well, yeah, because Dr. Sebi, right? He got to a point in his life. I think he was in his like 40s, like late 30s and 40s. He had so many different illnesses, so many ailments that they thought he was gonna die. He was on his deathbed when he had a sort of like an epiphany, right? And he had high blood pressure. He had a heart condition. He had herpes. He had
like a human petri dish.
yeah, he had so many different ailments,
Yeah.
and he cured himself.
Uh-huh.
So now what he started doing, he started this thing. I think he was in Costa Rica, and he started this health center where people would fly in and then started like he had like herbal concoctions. He had different things for like he cured. He had a couple of clients where he cured HIV, AIDS, where now he never actually called himself a doctor. So what ended up happening is he became really popular to the point where Chile from TLC traveled to Costa Rica to live on his compound and then to do certain treatments where she died actually down there in a car crash. Right?
Yeah.
So Dr. Sebi never advertised himself as a doctor. People started calling him Doc. And then he just went with it.
What he was like? What, like I'm a healer or something?
Yeah,
or
he's
what?
a healer, but he did it holistically through through herbs and stuff like that. So then what happened? He got sued by the American government. They came after him. Okay.
In Costa Rica.
No. At the time he was living in Brooklyn.
Okay.
So he would travel back and forth. So he had his little clinic and stuff like that. He was selling herbs and stuff, right? And then he's the only person who actually. He got sued by the government. He got away, and guess what? He represented himself. He showed up. He said, "Well, you say that you're practicing medicine without a license." He said, "I never practiced medicine. I never said I practiced medicine." So, well, you call yourself a doctor. Show me where I call myself. He never called himself a doctor. The people
called him a
doctor, and they told him, "Well, give us proof of those people you cured." He was supposed to present like 2 or 3 people that he supposedly cured. I think 14 people showed up in the courtroom with testimonials as to what happened, what he did, and how they recuperated. And basically, he won the case. He was the only person who were faced with such a case who walked away scot-free. And apparently since conspiracy theory alert, apparently since that court case
He's never seen again.
since that court case he had the crosshairs on his back. And when he died recently a couple of years ago, it was under the guise of, well, he had more than $10,000 in his briefcase because the rule, you're not supposed to travel. And then he got thrown in jail, and apparently he died of pneumonia in a jail. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here, right?
He died in U.S. jail or in Costa Rica?
Costa Rica, yeah. And so for him, right, he actually had the knowledge, but it was in a holistic fashion. But remember, the pharmaceutical company, right? The lobbyists.
Big pharma.
Big pharma, they don't want certain things out there.
No.
So for him, although he had the knowledge, but he never proclaimed himself to be a doctor.
No patent or anything.
Exactly. There were no patents.
Yeah.
It was all, he knew what to get in the jungle in the forest in Costa Rica to do certain things. And then, these things do happen. But if you go against the establishment, know that they're going to come after you. So if you want to do certain things, for instance, airline pilot, open heart surgeon, brain surgeon, well, get ready for a fight.
Podcast presenter.
Yeah.
not quite yet.
How do you know what you know?
How do I know what I know?
Yeah. Is it because of what you learned in school, or is it because of knowledge that you've gained over the years that you've actually gone